3, 2, 1, and we're live. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Village Made podcast. My name is Movell Hemuli, and today we welcome our special guest, Jolene Kanahele. And Jolene Kanahele has worked at BYU Hawaii, and she's retired from there. And so she's recently moved here to Utah. And today I have the great pleasure of speaking, and just not only learning about your story and sharing your story, but it's going to be a great pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, I guess just getting started with, the story of your name, who named you, and the meaning of your names and the meaning of your last name.
Okay, my name is Jolene Pi'ilani Siala Kanahele Keliiliki. I just recently got married. So.
Awesome. So congrats on that, I guess.
Thank you. My mom named me. I really don't know the meaning of my names, but I always said Siala must mean salad because I need to eat more of it. So, but anyway, I'm Hawaiian Samoan. Well, my mom is Samoan German, okay. My dad Hawaiian Chinese. So I was born and raised. I was born in Kahuku, June 19, 1965. Born at Kahuku Hospital and raised in Laie on Iosepa Street. And my dad's name happens to be Joseph, so we always would call it my dad's street.
Yep.
So I attended Laie Elementary, and then I went on to Kahuku, home of Red Raider Nation, right?
Yes.
Okay, it wasn't Red Raider Nation when I was, in school. But your uncle Laie Hemuli was one of our popular football players at the time. Him, Timote Manoa, all those, those boys. And so on my Kanahele side, my dad, he was born and raised in Laie. His name is, he doesn't have a middle name, just Joseph Kanahele, but he's number 8 of 9 children.
Wow.
And then my grandma, his mother is a Laie native, and her family are the Ka'ios.
Okay, yeah.
So that's a really big family in Laie too. Auntie Kela? Yeah, yep. Auntie Kela is related to me too. All the Rascals, all of them. And then my mom is a daughter of Arthur and Felila Thompson.
Oh, okay.
So if you know Norm Thompson, is my first cousin. The funny thing, I gotta tell you, Norman's mother, Norman's grandma on the mom's side is my dad's sister.
Oh, okay.
And Norman's dad is my mom's brother. So, yeah.
Wow,
he's my first and second cousin. So we always say, way to keep the royal blood in the family. And then my mom's side is the Meatongas.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know Pane Meatonga, but that's my mom's family.
Wow.
So both my parents come from big families. My mom is number 3 of 15. So
that's a big
Yeah. And we never dated someone. Well, every time we date a Samoan or bring a Samoan home, my mom's first question would be, "Who's your mom?"
Right.
So it ends up being a family reunion, So, growing up in Laie, sometimes it's too close for comfort, but, I gotta say, sorry.
No worries.
I couldn't have asked for a better place to be raised.
Right.
Because everybody raises you, not just your parents, You can get lickings from anybody.
Yep.
And, I'm so grateful and so proud to be a Laie girl.
Yep. An original, right? An original Laie girl.
Oh, yes, an original. And, my classmates, Nelele Atawa, Wendy and I, who's here now, so Sina Finga, we've all been very close. Who can say you've been best friends since kindergarten?
Right.
We're 55 now and we're still best friends. And that's one thing I love about Laie, about growing up in Laie. Laie is a little different now. There's more people there. But, we hold our memories dear. When we were little, marbles, playing marbles, kickball, in anybody's yard. That was our fun. That was our entertainment. There was no such thing as being indoors and playing video games and whatnot, but I'm glad we could play outside, could leave our doors unlocked. You could leave them unlocked, but that doesn't happen nowadays. But there was a trust there, with the families.
Yeah.
With you, your friends. But Laie is a special place, and I'm so grateful to have been raised there. So
maybe what are some of the traditions, from the village that we were raised that maybe have changed now, but that you enjoyed growing up?
Well, I know they still have word camp, but word camp
also is a little different now, right?
Word camp's a little different now. Well, Laie, word camp is move house. Yeah, you move everything,
right,
and the kitchen sink. But growing up, word camp was the thing. Word camp was so much fun. I don't like camping now. I only like camping when my parents had to do everything. But I see my little nephews and nieces, and my grandnephews and nieces. They enjoy that, and camping too was different in our day. It was much more simple. Now you have to entertain. You have to find things to entertain the kids. But we found our own fun, and. I know word camp went from 1 week to 2 weeks. Some would camp for a month. But, little things like that. Just walking on the side of the road where you could go catch tadpoles, by the drains and stuff. That was fun stuff. I mean, during spring break, our parents at work, and we make our own Easter egg hunt every day. Easter week. By the time Easter Sunday, never have eggs left. But, simple fun. Everything was very simple. But we had so much fun growing up.
Dang, that's awesome. I know you had mentioned your Kanahele side is like basically from Laie, right?
Yes.
Or they have a long lineage there in Laie.
Yeah.
And then your mother's side is a Samoan German.
Yeah.
Do you know their migration story or how they ended up in Laie?
I know my mom, she was born in Whangatongo in Samoa. And they moved to Laie when she was 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
So my great-grandparents, my grandparents, and they moved there. And they moved there for their church.
Okay.
Help build PCC, CCH at the time. Once my grandparents, the Samoan culture, live in Samoa. That's how you live.
Right.
But once they moved, I know my great-grandpa and great-grandma, once they moved to Laie, that culture took the back seat. They never looked back. The gospel culture became first. And that's how we were taught. I mean, we know some Samoan culture, but my great-grandma made sure that was first, that the Lord's way was first.
Right.
I must say, I come from a long line of very strong women, very, very strong women, determined women who draw strength from our Heavenly Father because they knew they could not survive in this life if they didn't put God first. But mind you, we have our own minds, and sometimes I would put my interests before God's, and we pay the consequences.
Right.
But bottom line, I'm grateful for those strong examples I had, because it helps me to appreciate where I came from and the sacrifices that I benefit from now.
Right.
I'm so grateful for that. And I try to live my life to emulate my gratitude and my love for them and for the Savior.
Just going off of this, that you brought up, strong women. To you, I guess, what is What is your definition of a strong woman? And do you consider yourself a strong woman?
Well, I've learned it's not about physical strength. It's more about physical strength, more about admitting when you're wrong. You don't always have to be right. It's about just being strong enough to do the right thing and to, I'd rather do the right thing than be popular for,
right.
trying to please everybody. You cannot please everybody. But, just doing the right thing regardless of what people think. Like we talked earlier, right. Who cares what people think?
Yeah.
It's between you and the man upstairs.
Right. And do you consider yourself a strong woman?
I hope so. I think so.
I'd agree. Just kind of thinking about, because you mentioned earlier about the sacrifices, you living off of the sacrifices of your family members, parents, the village as well, and the people around you. With the sacrifices that your parents have made, with the person that you've become today, would you say that your parents would be proud of you?
I hope so. My mom and dad were people who would feed anyone off the street. My mom would always, sometimes we'd come home from school, we see strangers at our table, eating. And I was always the one, who are you? That was me. But, my mom she would have students because she worked for the School of Education, for Education Division at BYU. Students would come to her with all kinds of problems and everything. And, if my mom, like you talk about me being a strong woman, my mom is, she cut to the chase. We don't run the bush yet. But she also had compassion, for everybody. So she would, students needed a place to stay. If their housing fell through, they would be at our house. They'd be eating our food. They'd be part of the family.
Right.
But my mom also would let them know, you don't overstay your welcome. You look for a place to stay, and it's time to go. Once you find it's time to go. But she did her part, in caring for Heavenly Father's children. And she would always say, if they were my kids, I would want others, to do the same for them. So we always had different people in our house all the time. And my dad would always feed a stranger, whatever,
Yeah.
Everywhere he went, if he saw somebody in need, he would be on it.
I like that. And this kind of also leads into this next question of what values and lessons have you learned from your parents or maybe from leaders in the village that you think would benefit our youth today?
Well, one thing I know, if your parents didn't teach you how to care for others, you're not going to do it. Examples like Uncle Junior, him and his family serve everybody,
right.
Not just the community. His kids do it because they see him do it. We help people because we saw my parents do it. So I have a Wendover story.
Sounds
this
interesting
is a kind
already.
Of different Wendover story. But I came here, I took a leave of absence from work because I was doing some writing. And so I did it in Utah. And so I was staying with a friend of mine. And I don't know, I go, hey, I heard about Wendover, let's go. When just in the middle of the week. And she said, okay, we can go when I get off of work. So we called another friend if she wanted to come along. So she did. So we're on our way to Wendover. And I'm the kind, if I see danger ahead, I won't go there. I would just say, turn around, come back. But when we were on our way, I could see this dust storm, just coming towards us. And I was thinking to myself, okay, should we turn back? Or, I never ask, I never question. I usually just, okay, let's go.
Right.
Let's go back. So my friend was driving, I was in the front seat, and we had our other friend in the back. So we continued. Plus I wanted a tumbleweed.
Right.
So we stopped the car, tons of tumbleweeds by the fence on the other side of the road. So I went to get me one. We continued on our journey. We got through the storm. And then we were on the highway, and we saw a car going east on the other side, but they were stalled. They were stopped. And I don't know, maybe they were car trouble, whatnot. So then we kept going. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden we see this guy on the side of the road carrying a tire. Okay. Tattoos everywhere, just from top to bottom, tattoos. He had a jeans jacket on, and, I looked, and we we passed him, and I told my friend, stop. She goes, what? I said, just stop, see what this guy needs. So he's walking towards us, and I said, hey, do you need some help? He goes, well, my family's back there, my 2 daughters and my wife. Our car broke down, we're moving to Tennessee, and I just got to find somewhere to fix his tire. So I said, hop in. It's not even my car. Right. So he went, and my friends would look at me like, are you nuts? So I said, oh, no, just go sit in the back. Go sit in the back with Julie, our other friend. And they would just look at me like, are you nuts? I said, you know what? There's one of you. If you try anything, there's 3 of us, and we can beat you up. So don't even. So anyway, we continued on our journey. We told him what we were going to Wendover just to go eat at the buffet and then come back. Yep. He said, okay. So we got to Wendover. We got to a station, and they were closing. But the guy said there's a station down the road that closes in like half an hour. So we raced to that station. He left, gave him his tire for them to fix. And then we went to Burger King, drive-through, ordered all this food. And he thought we were going to, he had to find a way back. Right. So we went to, ordered all this food. I said, okay, I think your tire is ready. So we went back to pick it up. He goes, oh, no, I can, find it. I go, no, we're taking you back. He goes, no, I'm spoiling your evening. I go, no, you're not. I said, no, you're not. We have food for your family, so let's go back. So we drove back, and it was, already pitch black on the highway. So we shined our light so he could change a tire. The daughters and the wife came in our car, waited with us because it was really cold outside. And then I wasn't even thinking, wasn't even my house. I said, yeah, they can stay with us, yeah? She goes, oh, okay, yeah, okay. Oh, sorry. And, so we ended up giving them a tour at midnight of Temple Square. Just driving around Salt Lake City before, we went home. We sang them some songs. They all, took a shower and everything. I said, yeah, they can stay in your room, yeah. So
wow. Yeah. Volunteering everything.
Yes, of course. So, in the morning we woke up. We made breakfast for them, and then we said a prayer before they left. And she lives in an apartment building. So, they were going down the stairs and they were all saying goodbye. And when he looked at me, the husband, his eyes were so piercing. And it was as if I saw the Savior himself. And his last words to me was, God bless you. And that was the last we saw of him. And, in the beginning, as I said before, if my parents didn't teach us that, I wouldn't have done it. Right. He would have still been looking for a ride and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But, things like that, I'm grateful for.
Dang. That's...
It was a crybaby video, sorry.
No worries. This is basically your testimony, just the life experiences that you've had and just sharing it, But man, it just sounds like the parents that you've come from, especially with all your siblings as well. There's what, 5 of you guys, I think.
Yeah, there's 6 of us.
6 of us.
I'm
yeah,
number
6
5.
of you guys. And so, man, those are powerful stories. And just going back to what you're talking about, like, the people in the village, like with Junior IU and his kids, and just giving back. I feel like that's kind of like the mentality of the village, right? And that's the name of this podcast, is the Village Made Podcast. And I guess, like, for me, like, no matter what success that whether it's you or me or anyone, like, I just feel like nothing can be contributed to myself, everything is because of, and will always be contributed to the village. So, I think that's kind of cool. Also want to give a shout out to your oldest sister, which is Braden's mom,
Yes.
And so, just being family friends with Braden or, with the Sikas. And so I think that's kind of cool too.
Well, that sister, Janelle, we call her Robin Hood, because she goes steal from her husband's account and she go pay for everybody else. she would always, take money from Sika's account and, go help somebody. That's how she was.
Yeah.
She was always serving other people. I know Donnie Alayasa can attest to that. He was like her second son, her other son. But from my oldest sister, I have a sister here, Lonnie Snow, and then my brother Keenan. He lives in Pleasant Grove. And then my brother Joe, he lives in Virginia. Mm. But we all, as siblings, when you're young, you fight a lot, yeah. But now, we're so close, we dote over each other. When it's time to go to a restaurant, we argue who gets to pay for the bill.
Right.
Everybody, you walk in the restaurant and the poor waitress, every single one of us told her to give us the bill, so she's confused. But we love to treat each other now. We love to do things for each other. And, we have our ups and downs, but for the most part, because of our parents and because they showed us how much they loved each other.
Right.
It kind of rubbed off on us, but we're very grateful. And I think we all, because we're so strong-willed, we all married really good people, really good, patient people. But yeah.
Dang, that's, I feel like that's the legacy that your parents have left, and you guys lived through them, continue to live the legacy of, your parents. But
well, they died when both my parents are gone. My mom passed away at my age. She was 55. And my dad passed away like 7 years after her.
Right.
But, I think they left us knowing that they could leave us because they taught us everything they could have taught us,
Right.
But so, I'm a product of some great sacrifices.
Yeah. And I feel like, from the scriptures, being born of goodly parents, and so we can all attribute, that to our parents as well. But can you talk just a little bit more about childhood, what it was like in coming up in Laie Elementary, or even just what the youth programs were at the church, and how BYU, or even just how just the community has grown, because even when I was younger, I don't remember, like the Foodland, where Foodland is now. I just remember it was being a big lot,
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you, with your years of experience, like other things have been,
Our time was Village Food Mart.
Yeah. So what was that like for you? And, just coming up with your friends and...
I don't know. We just had fun. It was just, we didn't have to be entertained.
Right.
We just made up our own entertainment. But growing up in Laie, there was Beauty Hole. I don't know if you heard of Beauty Hole. It was just...
Is it across Foodland?
Yes.
It was.
I, never got to swim there, but I know my older siblings got to. But my dad was a swimmer. Mm-hmm. My dad used to compete, in the state. And he would swim they would have races, but he would swim as far as he could, but he would always finish first. He would be the last one to start, but he would always finish first. When he would train, because he would swim in the, what's that, saltwater pool in Waikiki. I forgot what it's called, but he used to compete over there. But his training, he would swim back and forth from the rock at the point with the hole in, swim back and forth to Goat Island, just back and forth. Wow. That was his training. So when he swam in the swimming pool, that was nothing. Yeah. He was just a fish, But Beauty Hole, Goose Store, the jukebox at Goose Store. Sometimes, my parents drop us off for school. You shame me, I'd be dropped off in front of your friends. Drop us off over here. But Goose Store, Sam's Store, those were the landmarks those days. Yeah. Breakfast of Champions, the pocket cake and soda. Yeah. That was, everybody just, where was reminisce about Sam's Store? Sam's Store had this counter that my Papa used to sit at every morning, with his friends. They sit there, eat, whatnot. Goose Store. I got to tell you one thing about Brother Goo. Everybody thought, I think a lot of the majority of Laie thought he was, mean, mean and stingy and, until I actually found out, he did a lot of things anonymously.
Right.
He helped a lot of families anonymously. So, you can't really judge a book by its cover, yeah. But Brother Goo, he did a lot. I have my Brother Goo's story too, because he used to lock up the kids that stole candy. Yeah.
So, wow, I never heard this. That's cool.
He had a little room in the back. It was so hot. Just he would lock you up just for a little while.
Right.
Then let you go. Yeah. So I went. I forgot my money at home. So I went, and I loved licorice. I loved the red and black licorice.
Right.
So I was like stuffing my pocket with the licorice. And then he caught me. Kanahele, what you doing? I go, nothing. But I already had like 10 licorice in each pocket. So, of course, he goes, hey, get over here. So, he locked me up in the room. So while I was in the room, I had my licorice to keep me occupied till he let me go. And, he locked me in there for a good half hour. And, he let me go home and everything. And, I figured, you tell my mom it was worth it. But, Brother Goo has done a lot for the community that people don't know about. And Uncle Sam Choi, you guys all know his son is a world-renowned chef. But Uncle Sam, he wasn't active, but he donated all the bread to the state for sacrament.
Wow.
That was his contribution to the church. And when he passed away, his funeral was in the First Ward Chapel. And they had pocket cake and soda. Instead of the sandwiches and they had pocket cake and soda for everybody. So yeah, growing up, we had good fun.
Yeah. I'm sure with Goose Store and also Sam's Store, by the time they passed away, I'm sure they had a lot of IOUs still unleft, right? Yes. Or still a lot of people in the community who owe him money. So
yeah.
But I'm just grateful, for their because even I wasn't around when the Goose Store, but Sam's Store is still around, and so that's still a
Goose Store was I was told by his daughter that the change from the jukebox, he would donate it to Koku's hospital. So
nice. That's cool, man. Well, I enjoy these parts of this part of the podcast because it just kind of reminisce, just talk about the village or just talk about where we come from, and just the childhood that I had was just fond memories. And so just for you to repeat and just share the stories of your childhood and your memories, it also brings back these good memories. And so I'm just grateful, and thank you for sharing those with us. But I guess just moving on into the next part, or the second part, which is I forgot to mention in the beginning that not only did you work at BYU, but you retired from BYU.
I
but
did.
At this point, you're also an entrepreneur.
Sort of.
And then you also work in, or I think what you're most known for is the music, right? And then but I guess we'll stay the music for the latter end, and then we can get into your entrepreneur. Like, where do you get this entrepreneur spirit from? And talk about everything tastes better with butter, right?
Because I need money. Well, I decided, after this, I was done working for people. I just wanted to do my own thing, work for myself. I also do photography. So, I can still do that. And, so I want your treat. And your sister. You guys can, okay. Yes, everything. Butter. Okay, here you go.
Oh, wow.
Okay, go open them.
Wow, this is a first.
This is
So while I was, I just want to
I'm
say,
grateful for my mom because she, was,
I just want to say that I had it was off of Imahi on the podcast, and he had mentioned that we come from a village of entrepreneurs. Our parents, whether it's making lays, whether it's cutting grass, doing out there work, we're just figuring out a hustle, trying to figure out how to make ends meet, or even just making extra money. Exactly. And so just what you mentioned with, your mom and
well, my mom
helped you, so.
Yeah, she was a great cook and baker. Her way of telling us to, you need to come learn, get over here and learn, get over here and learn and see what I do.
Right.
I don't want your husbands telling me I never teach you nothing. That was my mom, but
yeah.
Go ahead. You can eat one. You can have one too.
Where would...
Just eat it.
This way? For the camera?
There's lots of butter. So butter rolls, if you don't have butter at the, on the bottom, soaking the bottom, then it's just a roll.
What this reminds me of is in high school, they have the supplemental line and they sell these cookies, the shortbread cookies, and then they sell these butter rolls.
Yes.
And so that's what this, reminds me of. But I don't know. I don't want to get too carried away in eating this because...
Just eat one. Who cares?
Okay.
Go for it. Oh, sorry.
Wow.
You might want to grab the bottom because...
Oh, yeah. It's still stuck on. This is going to get carried away. I don't want to get too carried away with this. So like this. Okay.
No, you got to eat the bottom. Where's the bottom?
I think it's just stuck on.
Did the whole bottom come off or no?
No, yeah, I think it's just stuck on the thing, but I'll go ahead. We'll do it after.
Go for it.
Well, first of all, let's just let's go kind of deep into this. Sorry. First of all, what you want to do is you want to touch the top, and just see how soft you see. Okay, so that passes the test. First of all, so that means it's going to be flaky, or it's going to be like a good, nice, like a bite to it. Oh, there goes the bottom, but. So that's the first test to check and see if this is going to be good or not. And then you just flip it over and you see all this butter.
Well, there's tons more.
And then you go for the bite. So got a nice pull to it. When you put your teeth into it, then you pull it apart.
So funny.
That's also like a test that you can check and see how fluffy. And then you can just see how airy it is. And so that's how this is some good stuff. But let's just put this down for now. If not, we're going to get too carried away with this. But
you're so good.
Wow. That has a lot of childhood or, memories from high school because we eat this, whether it's recess or lunch. But I also like the top because when you bake it, it gets that little crunch on the top and makes the color. And so that color mixed with the butter, just the whole... Very well, very well.
We were raised on butter.
Thank you.
My mom rarely bought margarine.
Oh, thank you. This is actually a first time, a first time on the show that, somebody's brought us a gift. And so we appreciate it. But... We'll go ahead.
Go for it, girl.
This is the name, right?
Butters.
So can you go ahead and like talk to us a little bit where you got the name from, or?
My husband and I was just sitting down one night. He goes, "Hey, how about butters?" I go, "Okay."
Nice. And when do you sell these, or how do we get people could get a hold of them?
I post every Monday.
Okay.
I kind of control what I sell because I'm the only one who makes it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I can go anywhere from 32 to 40 dozen on a weekend.
Wow.
But I post it. First pay, first serve. So yeah, I post it on Mondays, and then I usually sell out, and then they pick it up on the weekend.
Guys, so if you went to Cocoa High School and you remember those butter rolls that we get at recess or lunch, the supplemental lines, this will take you back, or at least it's taking me back to those days. So thank you. I really appreciated that.
Sweetie. You're welcome.
Man, we're going to have to take care of this in a little bit, but let's get through this, the interview first, But yeah, just also in... the spirit of being an entrepreneur, now that you're retired, what else are you up to? Or, now that you moved here to Utah?
Pretty much just selling my butter rolls.
Nice.
I have some photography bookings and stuff, but I kind of decided to not do families anymore.
Right.
I kind of do that on a case-by-case basis, but more so high school seniors. I like working with them.
Yeah.
Some glamour and maternity.
Okay.
Yeah, I much rather work one-on-one, really.
Right.
But families, it depends. If my family asks me, of course I can do it, or I better do it. But no, you can make money. I mean, you can be your own boss. I wanted to be my own boss.
Right.
I call the shots. I take a day off if I want. No need calling sick. You just take a day off.
Right. And then for photography, how'd you get into photography, and maybe who are some inspirations of yours?
Well, my husband now, he actually bought me a camera back in 2006, I think it was. And that was my first camera. I served my mission in British Columbia in Canada. And I never had a camera. So my companions had to do the double prints. They would give me a set. But the first camera I ever owned was when he gave me a camera for Christmas. It was just a, point and shoot camera. And from the first picture I took, I was like, I kind of like this. So I started taking pictures of everything. Photographers they know. And then, I started posting my work, and then people started asking. And so I became professional, I would say 2011.
Nice.
And I made quite a bit of money.
Nice.
I tried wedding photography. But yeah, that's for other people.
Yeah. So
that's for people who want to stay there all day.
So you met my sister, and so she kind of is into, or because she does all the editing for my the podcast, and she does photography as well. But she started in photography, but got more into videography.
Yes.
And so she kind of has her niche to her, like what she does or doesn't like to do. And so I kind of understand where you're going.
Yeah.
Like not too many family photos, and so her as well. She's not too much into family photos,
especially when you got kids.
But she's done it for just like you said, if there's family, friends, or people who and so she'll do it for them. But while I was going through your photography page, I came across this this quote that you had on there: "Life is a moving photograph that changes every second." So I don't know, can you expand on that? And I enjoyed that quote, and so that's kind of something that caught my eye.
I just everything's, the only way you can preserve a memory is if you snap it,
Right.
And because it's continuously moving, you just never know what you're going to get. My favorite is candids, people laughing or, they don't know that they're being photographed. But everything's always moving, and you better snatch it while you can.
That's cool. And then where can people find you, or if they want to book you, or or see your work, maybe
it's just Joe Photography.
Okay. On Facebook?
On Facebook. Nice. I'm so dumb at Instagram, so I don't even know how to do Instagram.
No worries. Can you also talk about, I guess, education? Because you were administrative assistant at BYU in the education department, I think. And so you were able to retire from there. And so I think that's kind of cool that education is,
well,
also
I was
a
at
big
BYU, for 28 and a half years. 20 of those years I was in HR.
Oh, okay.
And then, I moved over to the academic side in 2012.
Nice.
The funny thing about it is, so if you really know me, I hated school from kindergarten. Okay. So I had some college, but I didn't graduate. And because I hated school,
right.
And I didn't care what people thought, But the funny thing is my mom was a secretary for the education division. It was called that then. And during the summers, hardly anybody came in. So she would tell her boss, hey, my daughter can come fill in for me.
Wow.
So that's how I learned.
So you got punked to go.
That's how I learned all my skills, all my office skills. And, I would do little things for the faculty and stuff. And, I learned a lot, just because my mother,
right.
had me go and do it. And then I did some college, and I think my last major I changed was to psychology. And then I was like, I don't even like it. Then I went on my mission. Then I came back and, started working again as a student. I just did not like school. Okay, I got to tell you this funny story. Me and my brother Keenan. So we both decided before I went on my mission that we would take our classes together. So we did. Both of us, we don't study. So we went to take our math exam. And so our days had Scantron,
right.
Put them through.
The bubbles, the little bubbles that you
fill in the bubble. You have an error, you'll hear that.
Oh, okay.
It's like, you'll just say, tick, tick, when they put it through the Scantron. So my brother, we knew we didn't study. And, took our test anyway. Probably did any, meeny, money, mo anyway. So we go there and everybody's like, you can go, because we didn't want to. So everybody was, doing their tests and putting their tests through the Scantron. So my brother and I were last. So for real, it was like when terrorists, sounded like when terrorists was in there shooting everybody, because as soon as we put ours through it, and both of us like just cracking up, and we just left. Then we went to my mom's office. Mom, you got $20. Because we wanted to go eat at the Seasider. Right. But, that's how much I hated school. But my last 8.5 years, there was an opening that came at the School of Education. So I went. I applied for it. I was told to apply. I was asked to apply for it. One of my friends thought she was leaving. And in my interview, I had 20 years experience of, PeopleSoft, whatever they needed. But in my interview, one of the professors asked me, well, I see on your resume, you started your degree. Now, why did you not finish? So I was in front of a panel. I said, I know this is probably not the right department to say this. Right. I said, but I hated school since kindergarten. And they were like, okay. I said, you want the frilly answer or you want the truth? So I told him, I said, I hated school since kindergarten. I said, but I am qualified for what you need me to do. So I was glad I got the job.
Dang. Well, 20 years of, HR, and then you moving into, the last 8 years or 8.5 years of working in education. That's
and
cool.
It was such a blessing. That job was so good. I loved everybody I worked with. Yeah.
That's cool. And was it easy for you to retire, I guess? Or is time, time has come and so let's move on.
I gotta say, my husband now for years, he's been asking me, can you see yourself living in Utah? And every single time, nope. I was born and raised here. I'm gonna stay here. And then 2018, he asked me again. We came here for Christmas, and he asked me, he goes, do you see yourself living in Utah? I said, maybe. He took that as a yes and started looking for homes. But, I really had to ask Heavenly Father to help me to let go, because I was raised in Laie. All my memories are there.
Right.
But the home I was raised in, that's the only home I know. By the time my parents were settled by the time I was born. So, it was hard for me.
I'm sure.
Hard for me to leave Laie. So I really had to pray and ask Heavenly Father, please, you got to help me.
Right.
And then one day, it just clicked. I felt like I no longer belonged there. I was getting antsy in my job. As much as I loved my job and I loved the people I worked with, I was anxious to just start, just start a new life. And finally, said, okay, it's time to go.
Dang.
So then, we got married here in the Ochre Mountain Temple on July 3rd. I wanted to get married on my mom's birthday. It's July 4th, but they were closed. So July 3rd was close. Dang. And it was really nice because we got the temple we got the whole temple to ourselves. We got, the celestial.
Was it this past July?
Ourselves. Yes.
Just this? Oh, okay. Wow. Newlywed.
Yeah, I didn't care if I was 75 when I got married. Yeah. I didn't care. I had to be ready.
Right.
But, when we were sealed, the sealer told us, he said, you only have 16 guests. You were only allowed 16 guests. He said, but this room is packed.
From the other side, right? Wow. And just in you sharing that story, a lot of times we ask the Lord for help, but when the Lord gives us our answer, we don't have the courage enough to follow through with what he says. And so for you to follow through or be able to follow through, I think that's a testament to you and, just enabling to follow the Spirit and then follow through with it.
I think it was my mom saying, about time.
And I'm sure your mom's on the other side. Like, hey, so yeah. I'm just glad that, now that you're here, I'm able to, do this interview because you're here. And so I appreciate it. And so now let's just get into, the talent. Well, basically when I was thinking about what, the questions to ask or, things that I should discuss or that we should talk about, basically all that came to mind, I asked, actually had Lupe, I asked her and called her because I knew that she was close with you. And so I asked her for some questions or, just some stories that, that she could share with me that I could ask and that you could share. But yeah, a lot of, just basically everything that came back or that came to me was just the parable of the talents, right? Just being able to share your talents. And these talents are not only for ourselves, but it's for everyone else, right? Because you can't just hoard the talents to yourself. And so I also am a, recipient of your talent because I don't know what year it was for me, but during youth conference, you were you were the one that made the arrangements, for
was Auntie Nelly.
Was Nelly, yeah. And so I was just telling my sister while we were setting up for this, I was like, yeah, it was her, Auntie Jolene and Auntie Nelly. But Nelly was the one that you would get, she would be the face of all, they're like, stop, you do this, I'm gonna tell your mom, oh, get over here, I'm gonna slap you, and so, but, just like, just basically what I'm, just in trying to say this is just, or what I'm trying to say is I've been, someone that has been a recipient of the talents that, you've been given, your God-given talents. And so just, I believe, everyone in the community being, born and raised in Laie or wherever in our North Shore community, at some point, I'm sure that, if you're in the church, I'm sure you were able to, be a chorister, take part in your choir, your family. And so, yeah, can you just talk about just the music and just how the inspiration that, and just the lives that you've, been able to bless and just maybe some of the, I don't know, maybe what stands out to you as like those moments where you, like, this is worth it, for you to be sharing your talents. And also, sorry, this is long-winded, but, and also in sharing this, I see a lot of the Tonga sisters, like whatever they're asked to sing at, they're, they offer their services. Yes. And I feel like that's kind of like what you've done before, but also living in the village, you learn from other people. And so it's just also good to see that this tradition continues. And another person that I asked was Braden. I called Braden and asked him like, I'm interviewing your Auntie Jolene. And so what are some things? But a memory that he brought up was on Sundays, you were never home because you were out blessing the lives of other people because of your talent. And then he also said sometimes he would also be, not even asked to, but he was, told to. No, just kidding. Because he had the talent, he was asked also to, on Sundays, accompany you. And so, I guess just talk about, music and how it's been a blessing in your life.
Yeah. Well, like I said, my parents, because my parents were musical too. We would, they would send us to bed, but we would, be laying in bed. And then we hear my mom and dad singing in the living room. They would, he on his guitar, my mom on her ukulele, and they would be singing. Nice. And, my mom's thing was use it or lose it, and, when you're little, you hated being forced to do stuff. Yeah.
Right.
But, I believe I was blessed. I came home in 1991 because my mom was sick. So, and she passed, she was diagnosed with liver cancer in March of 91. She passed away in September. Oh. I was living in Utah, but I went home to visit her and I knew I wasn't going to come back. But I think, I never started writing music until she passed away. So I attribute those blessings because I took care of my mom. Yep. I wasn't the only one. My sister did too. My sisters did too when they could because they were married. But I was a single one. Mm-hmm. My little sister Tina was way younger than me. But I consider that a big blessing. I can tell when it's the Lord and it's not me. When I'm writing, if it flows, I know it's not me. So I always say, he writes it and he's kind enough to let me pick the titles.
Nice.
But, we had a young adult choir before I left for my mission, but it wasn't until I came back from my mission. And then, a few friends got together. Aaron Keyoung, him and my other friend, we used to hang out, Kyra Pozel. Those two are the ones that asked me to help them to start a group, so that we could do firesides. And so there were 9 originals, was those 2. Lupe's an OG, Tasi Fiso.
Okay.
Who else? Shane Kapua, Mark Piana. You remember anybody? Daisy Foley. Then there was Adrian Edwards. She wasn't in it for very long, but there were 9 of us. And then it evolved, over the years. And I'm not one to hold auditions. I'd rather you have the desire to serve. I don't care how good you can sing, but if you don't have a desire to serve, then because you can always learn. But I had some really good singers, Of course, I was lucky to have Lupe. Lupe was always, one of them. Keliiliki was one of them.
Wow, that's cool.
We had all these people singing for us. And I was just always, this is not your show. It's everybody.
Yep.
And we're not here to display our skills. You're here to give a message, And so I'm pretty simple when it comes to singing, yeah. So, there's, if I can share a story with you about this one boy.
Please.
His name is Palani. And he wanted to sing with us, but really he never really sang before. Pretty tone deaf, sometimes. And, the boys in the group would kind of tease him, yeah.
Right.
And, that's Polynesians. Yeah, we tease anybody. Yep. You fall down, we're going to tease you. Sing flat, yeah, you're going to be teased. But, I would always kind of regulate them, yeah. And I would, if somebody sang flat, I would just have to look at them and they already know, yeah. So my nickname is Lasers.
Okay.
So anyway, with Palani, he had a desire.
Right.
He had a very strong testimony. He was actually one of my student workers in HR. And one day he was telling me this story about his mom wanting him to go on a mission. He didn't want to go. He was just talking about the whole thing. But while he was telling me that his story, these lyrics started coming. By the time he was finished, I had the tune already.
Wow.
So I quickly wrote it down, typed it down, and I had the tune already. And I said, Palani, this song is for you. This song is inspired by you. You will sing it. And he goes, really? So I said, you come to practice half an hour every Saturday before everybody. We will work on it. So I worked with him for maybe a couple months on it. So I was teaching the group part to the group, but they had no idea who was going to sing the solo. And so usually when I have somebody conduct, they would sing, after they introduce everybody. And so he learned it. He never practiced with anybody. The group knew what they were doing. He knew what he was doing. They did not sing it together until the fireside. So I had him conduct that fireside. And, the thing was on the program. For us, I just have a program for the group. And so everybody was still wondering who was going to sing the solo. So when I started playing and he started singing, they couldn't even sing their part because they were all crying.
Right.
So, I attest, if you have a desire, you can do anything.
Man, that's a powerful story and just, desire.
Yeah.
And so, can you talk a little bit about, when I did the podcast with Lupe, she had mentioned too that, with the way that because I guess the way the group ran, it was just all on harmony, right? Whatever you felt was the best fit at the time. So some songs or some programs, some people were left out and some people were added on. And so, where do you get that inspiration from? And just, I guess, in saying all of that, just harmony, the word harmony comes up and, the world needs a little more harmony at this time, but I feel like you found that harmony in your groups, and just, I don't know, in your mind or inspiration that comes to you, but how do you find harmony within the groups or the people that you're teaching? And then also, how do you allow that to come out in the music?
I said, we had some really good singers and some were not that experienced, but I would pull them in, if, they thought they were better than the other one. I would try to regulate things. If you asked me to sing a solo, no, I would choose somebody else, You just wait your turn. So, with harmonies, it came easy to us because my mom, she always, we sang with my mom and everything. And when somebody sang flat, she would just look at you like she wouldn't slap you, But, I don't know. You have to be there for the right reason. If you're there for, you're just there to give a message. I'd rather hear a child fumble through a whole song than to hear, an experienced singer sing it perfectly. That's just me,
Right.
You don't have to be perfect. If they feel the spirit from you, then you've done your job.
Can you talk about this gift of music that you have? Because I hear that you like reading music. That's not something that you do.
Well, okay.
Everything is by ear, I guess, or is that not?
No, we all play by ear.
Wrong?
We all play by ear. You know what? I'm Manini compared to my brother Keenan.
Oh wow.
My sister Tina. They're Janelle. Janelle can play in any key. I play in most keys, but Janelle, pretty much I learned piano from her. She would make me, pick at the keys while she would play. But my mom and dad played. They both played by ear.
Oh, wow.
No, really, it's not just me. My brother Keenan, his daughters, my sister Tina, they're all musical, So I'm just really a small part of it.
Is there a memory that stands out while you're using your talents, while you're going out and singing for these people, whether it's in a funeral or whether it's singing for a homecoming or, firesides? Is there a special memory that stands out?
Because we did it so much, and because we do the same thing, or sometimes I'll, change the program, but because we did it so much, I kind of took it for granted. I kind of like, okay, I'm just so boring now. I would be sitting, Lupe knows, I'd be sitting and I'd be bored. So my thing was 1 hour, that's it. No more than that. And that included the opening exercises, yeah. And I would, I would be getting bored. So I would like cut songs off. I would just like write a note, okay, we're not doing this song, not doing this song. They would know, because I was getting bored. And then I would, I was like, you get, I'm human. Yep. I was like, oh, can you do another fireside, so I would go with that attitude, but I had to check myself too. But if one person came up to me and told me that they needed that would rein me back in. Say, okay, this is your job. This is a gift I gave you. You need to do it. So.
Yeah. And that's just a perfect example of, using your talents to bless the lives of other people, right? Because these are never for ourselves, right? Yeah. It's always to bless other people and to. Yeah. But man, I'm just grateful that, you're, just your testimony, of not only the music, but also of your parents and the legacy that they've left, and, being able to bless the life, our podcast here today. But man, I just have, just an ending. I just have some questions. This is just to get to know you a little more. And, so just whatever the first thing that comes to mind, just go ahead and share them with us. But, what takes up too much of your time?
I don't know. Probably music.
Who or what inspires you?
My mom and dad.
If you could pick the brain of someone who's dead or alive just for their knowledge, who would it be?
I would say my great grandma, Penina.
Yeah. Which of your scars has the best story behind it?
Jeez. I'm not. I have too many. No, you know what? I can't really say I have any scars. I don't know. I'm blessed. Yeah.
What is something you think at least you think everyone should do at least once in their life?
Eat dessert first.
I like that. Go backwards, right? What do you wish you knew more about?
Knew more about. I just wish I liked to read. Because I hate reading.
Right.
But people who read, they're smart.
Well, the good thing nowadays, they have this, the Audible books, where you can just listen to it while other people read it to you.
Yeah.
What are some things you had to unlearn?
Unlearn that I'm not always right.
What's your favorite book?
The Cat in the Hat.
Can't go wrong with Dr. Seuss, right? What's special about the place you grew up?
The closeness, the love, the service to everybody. Just the simplicity.
Right. What have you only recently formed an opinion about?
Oh, you don't want to go there. We won't go there.
Okay, nice. What song will guarantee to make you dance?
Oh, dancing queen.
What are you most looking forward to in the next 10 years?
Just having a great life with my husband.
What could you give a 40-minute presentation on with no preparation?
Oh gosh. Food.
Right? Me too. So, I want to say a few episodes back, I had Lala Ellsworth on here, and then I asked him that question, and he said, the art of spam musubi. And so we kind of went into that a little bit. Yeah, I was like, oh, do you like the spam on the top, or is it has to be in the middle, so yeah, that was kind of fun. So I feel like we could do a little segment of that on our own, with something with food. What hobby would you get into if time and money weren't an issue?
Jeez. I don't know.
Let's come back to that one. When people come to you for help, what do they usually need help with?
Music.
It sounds about right. What helps you live in the moment?
Just the fact that, like my husband and I were talking the other night, just anything can happen. You just never know. So just enjoy each other.
Yeah.
Just,
Awesome.
And be good to each other.
Yeah. And final question, if you could give back to your village, how or what would you do?
I would. Jeez, there's so much. I don't know. I would just probably, if money wasn't an issue, I would probably serve in a way to help our youth, to build a big recreation center for them, and just for them to enjoy and have fun.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you for your testimony. Just in sharing your story, you could feel the love, and you could feel, the strength and the power that comes from it. But also just, going back to what I was thinking about with harmony, and in the time, that we're living in now, we need a little more harmony in the world. And so I appreciate, you bringing harmony to to this podcast, and also in sharing your story. And I really appreciate it. But
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I guess before we end, there's a special number, or a special talent that we'd like to, you'd like to share. And so we'll go ahead and.
Okay, so the song we're gonna share is Courage. I think that's what Musical Truth is known mostly for. But I have my little sister Lupe here, and this song was actually inspired by her, because to me, she is what she sings. When she. This song is about her. It's inspired by her because she is what she sings, what she shares. Any spiritual message she shares, she is that. So that's why it was composed. And Heavenly Father, for real, let me pick the title. This is one. But really, the first person to sing it, I gotta mention, this was our sister Bertha Samoa, who already passed away. But I'm so grateful for her too, and her many talents. But this was actually inspired by my little sister here, Lupe. So thank you.
So we will try to sing it.
Is it not loud enough?
As a young child, I learned to be honest and true to the things I believe in my heart, even when this old world is cruel. Yes, I learned to be brave, and I learned to defend the precious things of the Savior and endure to the end. As I strive to hold on to the things that I know are true, temptations, they beckon to me and try to subdue. It takes courage to win and nothing to lose. And now I plead for His mercy as I struggle to choose. Courage is doing what's right in the presence of fear. It takes courage to do what I should when no one is near. Courage is my way of saying, I will follow thee when the world walks out on me. Courage is my way of saying, I will follow thee when the world walks out on me. Allergies. Sorry. Oh, yeah, boy.
Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Village Made podcast. Jolene, I appreciate your time. Thank you for blessing us with your talents. From my village to yours, it takes a village to raise a child.